It's the week of February 24th, and for some teams, this is the last week of their regular season, but for most, this is probably the second to last week of their regular season. Because I know that the A-Sun starts their conference tournament this Sunday, and for the week of the 24th of February, these are my top 10 games of the week. So, my number one game of the week is going to be Houston at Texas Tech. Now, this game probably is like up there with what's going to be my second game, which is the second best game of the week, which is Bama at Tennessee. I think both those two games are pretty much 1 and 2. There's not really another game that is going to be quite as good as the two of those games. But I just think this Houston Texas Tech game is going to be a little bit better than what Bama and Tennessee is going to be. So I'm actually going to take Houston in this game. I think that they're probably going to win by. It's going to be less than 5. It's going to be a really good game. But the biggest thing is that Houston hasn't lost on the road. They're 8-0 on the road on the year. And their last meeting, I think that Houston wins if JT Toppin and their coach don't get ejected. I think that was the biggest factor as why Texas Tech won at Houston was because they got ejected. That gave them kind of a momentum shift at the beginning of the game. It just carried the rest of the game, and they only won that game by 1, which is why both these two teams are very good. I just think that Houston's going to be able to pull this one out in the end on the road at Texas Tech. And then, like I said, the second best game of the week, in my opinion, is going to be Bama at Tennessee on Saturday. And this is up there with Houston and Texas Tech. I think this could be the best game of the week, but I am going to take Tennessee by around 10 points. I think it's going to be a double-digit win. If not, it's going to be high single digits. Bama, very good team, but Tennessee is going to be at home, and they're going to be able to slow Bama down. And we've seen that with Houston, with some other teams in neutral site games where they were able to slow Bama down, but still beat them at neutral sites, where Tennessee's going to be able to do the exact same thing in front of the Tennessee crowd. So that's why I just kind of think that they're going to be able to pull this one out because Tennessee's going to be able to slow them down, but still is going to have scores to keep up with what Bama is going to do. My third best game of the week is going to be Texas A&M at Florida on Saturday, and I think this game is going to be a blowout. I think Florida wins in a blowout. Texas A&M is not very good on the road, and Florida is hot right now, and they're very good at home. So I just don't think this one's going to be close at all. I'm taking Florida to beat Texas A&M this week. I think that the fourth best game this week is going to be Wisconsin at Michigan State, which is on Sunday. Wisconsin been playing very, very good, but so has Michigan State, and Michigan State's very good at home. And like I said, with same thing with Texas A&M and Florida, Wisconsin is not good on the road, and Michigan State's good at home, and those two things are just not gonna balance out in this game. So I think that Michigan State wins by double digits, but it's gonna be closer than what that Texas A&M and Florida game is going to be. At number 5, I do have Auburn at Kentucky. I think that this game could be a lot higher on my list. It's just the fact that Kentucky has not played as well this year than what they usually have, and Auburn obviously is better than a lot of teams in the country, so it could be higher, but I just don't think that as of right now those other 4 games are just going to be better games in this situation. But I am going to pick Kentucky to upset Auburn in this one. Going into Kentucky is hard is a hard job. It's hard to beat Kentucky at home. Um, but if a team is going to be able to do it, it is going to be Auburn. But it's just the fact that it's on the road at Kentucky. Auburn hasn't played great as of late, but it's still Auburn. So this is kind of one of those two. This is a game where it's kind of back and forth. I don't know who's going to win, but I am going to take Kentucky because it's at Kentucky, and Auburn has not played well as of late. And then at 6 is on Wednesday, which is Michigan State at Maryland. Um, Michigan State has won 3 straight big games. They're great on the road. Now, I think that this one is another game that could go either way, but I am going to take Michigan State by less than 5. I don't think this is going to be a blowout. I think this is going to be a really good game. But Maryland, they rely too much on their starters. They're scoring like 90% of their points. I don't think that's going to work against Michigan State. It can work against some teams, but Michigan State, who's deep, has a lot of scorers, is going to wear out Maryland. I think that Michigan State's going to pull this one away. At 7, I have Arizona and at Iowa State. Um, Arizona should have beat BYU, no question about it. And Iowa State's kind of beat up, so I am going to shift towards Arizona. Arizona's going to be playing well this game. I think they win by double digits, but the only problem is that it's at Iowa State. That is my only concern for Arizona, is that it's at Iowa State, so I don't know if they're going to perform the way that I think that they will after that devastating loss to BYU where they should have won. But if they play the way that they should play after that loss, they should beat Iowa State by double digits. Um, at number 8, I am going to have Mississippi State at Bama. Now, this game is going to be one of, it's not quite as big of a game as the rest, but I am going to have Mississippi State upsetting Bama because of the fact that the last time that they played at Mississippi State, Bama won by 4, and Bama shot 15 of 31 from 3, which is 49%. I just don't think that they can replicate that, and that is the only reason that they beat Bama the last time. And I really think this is a good matchup for Mississippi State. But like some of these other games, like Arizona, Iowa State, like Michigan State and Maryland, and like Auburn, Kentucky, it's the fact that it's on the road. It's in Bama. That's the only problem with that game, is the fact that it's in Bama, which is why I'm a little hesitant to pick Mississippi State to upset them, but I am going to take them because I am not expecting a really good shooting performance like Bama had last time out against Mississippi State. At number 9, I have New Mexico at San Diego State on Tuesday. This game is kind of one of those games where it's deciding, is New Mexico going to get a higher seed in the tournament, and is San Diego State going to drop, or is they're the opposite? And I think that New Mexico at San Diego State is going to beat them on the road. New Mexico is going to come out with the win. They're the better team. They've got better players, and they're great on the road. It's not much, but I do believe that New Mexico is probably going to pull this one out and beat San Diego State. And then at 10, I had UCLA at Purdue. There's definitely some other games that are probably deserved to be on here, like Ole Miss and at Alabama, or some other smaller games. But just the fact that these are two Big Ten teams that are kind of fighting for better placement in the Big Ten tournament, two teams that could be getting top 5 seed in the tournament. So I think that this game is kind of one of those where it's not two good teams, but there's a lot of stakes at hand, and that's why I kind of had it in the 10 slot rather than some of the other games throughout the week. And I do believe that Purdue is going to beat UCLA. It is at Purdue. A lot of teams have beaten Purdue and Mackey this year, but it is a tough place to play, and Purdue's due for a win. UCLA is a team who has been good but not great as of late, so I just kind of have a feeling Purdue, who is really due for a win. They've lost 4 in a row. I think that they walk out there and play one of their better games this year against UCLA and end up beating UCLA. And then some of the other games that did not make my top 10, but I do believe are going to be some really good games this week. The first one is on Monday, and that's Michigan at Nebraska. I'm going to take Nebraska in this one. I think that Nebraska is just a little bit better at home, and Michigan has not played great as of late. They just lost to Michigan State, and before that they had like 4 or 5 wins by a total of 10 points. So I don't think that Michigan has been playing well as of late, and that's why I'm going to take Nebraska in that one. On Tuesday, Florida and Georgia. Florida plays at Georgia. Florida by a mile. Vanderbilt plays at Texas A&M. I'm going to take Texas A&M. Texas A&M, very good at home, very good team overall. And then, like I said, Ole Miss and Auburn at Auburn is going to be a pretty good game, but I am going to take Auburn in that one. And then a couple other bubble teams that are getting some games here. It's Kentucky at Oklahoma on Wednesday. I am going to take Kentucky, and the reason that's a very key game is because Oklahoma is kind of fighting for one of those last bubble. They're in the bubble. They're fighting for one of those last slots, and if they lose a home game to Kentucky, I think that they can get out, and they're not going to end up making the tournament. And I think that Kentucky does end up doing that to Oklahoma. And then Texas at Arkansas, two bubble teams. I think winner gets in, loser's going to fall a decent amount, but I am going to take Arkansas at home. And then another game in the Mountain West, Utah State at Boise State. I'm going to take Boise State. They killed New Mexico at home, and I think they're going to do the same thing to Utah State, and Boise State deserves to be a tournament team. And then the final key game on Wednesday is going to be Ohio State at USC. And Ohio State is a team that is desperate for a win. They've lost 3 in a row, and they are in need of a huge win. And if they pull this out, I think that they're going to wind up getting that first 4, maybe the final 4 in. So, but I am going to take Ohio State in this one on the road at USC. They're due for a win, and they need one big. And then on Thursday, not a lot of great games on Thursday, but William and Mary and Towson play. Both these two teams in the top 3 of their conference, and I am going to take Towson. Towson's great at home. And then Chattanooga and UNC Greensboro. Another going to be another game. 2 top teams in the conference, but I am going to take UNC Greensboro at home. And then on Thursday, Jacksonville State and at Liberty. That's going to be another great game in the Conference USA. I think that either team could win. They're 2 of the best teams in the Conference USA, but I am going to take Jacksonville State on the road to beat Liberty. And then a couple of other more games on Saturday. We've got Texas Tech at Kansas. Kansas loses. They're probably going to be on the 8 or 9 slot. Like they're falling really bad right now. And I'm going to take Texas Tech in this game, especially if they lose to Houston. If they lose to Houston, they're going to be wanting to win, and I think that they are due for a win. If they lose, give me Texas Tech over Kansas. And then Utah State at Colorado State, 2 more teams in the Mountain West, kind of right there fighting. Colorado State fighting for a spot. In my opinion, I think that they are on the way to getting in, and if they pick up a big win over Utah State on Saturday, I think that they are a tournament team. And then in the Horizon, the 2 best teams in the Horizon, 2 of the 3 best teams in the Horizon, Purdue Fort Wayne at Cleveland State. I'm going to take Cleveland State at home, who has not been playing well as of late, but give me Cleveland State at home. And then Samford at UNC Greensboro. Give me UNC Greensboro again against another top competitor in the conference, but they're at home. Give me UNC Greensboro. McNeese at Lamar, the two of the top teams in the conference in the Southland. McNeese, very good team, best team in the conference. Give me McNeese. And then Georgia at Texas on Saturday as well. I am going to take Texas, and this is probably a Texas win eliminates Georgia, in my opinion, from the tournament with all considerations. And then on Sunday, Northern Iowa at Bradley, 2 of the best teams within the conference, their conference. I am going to take Bradley at home. Northern Iowa just picked up a big win against Drake, but I think that they just playing at Bradley just not going to be enough. Give me Bradley. And then another game from Michigan where Illinois travels to Michigan. I am going to take Michigan in this one. Illinois, same situation as Michigan, not played well as of late, but they're on the road, so give me Michigan. And then the final game is Memphis at UAB. I think that UAB pulls out the upset against Memphis here. UAB, their best team within the American. I think that they get this win. And a win here for UAB actually puts them in the first place over Memphis within the American. And I think that Memphis, come tournament time, it's going to be a team that is definitely prone to an upset. They are definitely going to be capable of being upset. So those are my key games of the week. Just some games that are important towards conference standings or some of the best games throughout the week and who I believe is going to wind up winning those games. So thanks for watching.